Okay, we recording. 3, 2, 1 sec. 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the East of Stretford
What's up?
podcast. So I forgot what I was going to say.
All right, cut. Take 2. It's a Sunday, guys. It's okay. It's fine.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the East of Stretford podcast. And fucking hell, dude. I'm blanking right after I say that. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the East of Stretford podcast. Now, it's been a few days since our last episode, and a lot has happened. We beat Man City in the Carabao Cup, but ended up getting out of the cup because we lost on aggregate. The transfer window came and went. There were 2 wins, 2 outs, which we will get into later. And we drew with Wolverhampton Wanderers, who have been a good team this year. And we played decent. We controlled the game. So those are the 3 things we're talking about today. And just as a reminder, we are a Man United football fan podcast. We talk all things Man United. We rant about United and so on. So what's up, boys? How are you doing?
Who goes? Oh, me? All right. I'm doing pretty good, man. Pretty good.
Any of you? Vishnu, how are you?
It's been like a crazy week, but we're here. We're back, and let's get this started. Got loads to talk about, loads of content to really discuss and get into the detail with. Let's go.
Yeah, so let's quickly touch on Man City versus United. We beat them 1-0, but unfortunately, we are not going through to the next round. I thought the game was very, very positive from us. You know, we didn't go out sitting back. I mean, we did sit back way more than City, but we didn't look, out of place like we did in the 3-1 first leg. We looked good. We were attacking with such limited players and people out in a shit midfield. And in the last 20 minutes, we really gave them some, some stuff to think about. So, Karthik, what did you think about that game just really quickly?
Well, I was pretty happy with the game. I know we all predicted a 2-0. I mean, you and me predicted like a 2-0 victory to United. We were close. We can't say we weren't close. And considering the kind of team that City had set up and the kind of team we had, I mean, I was pretty happy with the performance. And at the end of the day, it was a win. And I think right now, if you just look at it as just a result, like a standalone result, I think it was a pretty positive performance. And I think that, and I'm hoping that translates into something, it didn't really pan out in the Wolves game, but I don't think that was a bad game either. I think the City game really helped us gain some confidence as well. So yeah, I think it was a pretty solid performance. Yeah.
Vishnu, what'd you think?
Yeah, adding just to what Karthik said, it's a really good morale booster for the guys coming back into the Premier League. It's a nice. We've beaten City twice in 6 weeks now in Etihad, which is pretty nice to see. Looks like Ole's really turning up the heat against Pep and all the other managers. He's sending out warning shots. I don't know if he goes for personal goals and stuff like that, but I'm sure that he will remember this in a long time, having beaten our arch nemesis, arch rivals in Etihad. So it's nice to see that Matic got a nice goal in as well. It's a neat little volley.
Yeah, beautiful finish.
Tiny angle that he had to squeeze that ball through, and he hammered it. It's nice to see that. And hopefully this sets us up for a lot of the weeks to come, because we do have some heavy schedules and games ahead of us.
Yeah, and I think the big points were Matic scoring. He shouldn't, he's been good, but he shouldn't even be in the starting lineup. Scott McTominay, Pogba. We have so many key players out. Rashford is out. The fact that, that's our only goal in the last few games, Matic scoring it. And we were playing a City team that was absolutely, they're stacked and their bench is stacked. Their bench is better than a lot of our starters. So to go out and continually beat them at their home, and come back from the fucking shit show that we had in the first leg, I think that shows a lot of character. And, our some of our guys aren't good enough yet. But I think Oli again is showing, he's the man for the big occasion.
Awesome.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say a shout out to Matic as well, dude. I mean, I agree. Like, he's not a starting player for us. He hasn't been over the past couple of seasons. Probably like, he's probably not the old Matic anymore. But I feel like we saw glimpses of that in the City game as well. And he really played for us, man. Even his red card, like, he kind of had to pull him down. Like, he did it. He took one for the team, and I thought that was, I think it was good to see Matic finally. After a long time, I felt like he actually played for United. Like, and it was good to see that. Like, like people just picking up their socks when we don't have like McTominay and Pogba and stuff, and when we like desperately need people to like start playing in midfield. I think it was definitely a positive thing we can take out of that game.
Yeah, completely agreed. He stepped it up.
Yeah.
So moving on to the next game. This was the game last night or 2 days ago, because we're going to put it up tomorrow because Karthik's going to get this edit done, right? Or Vishnu.
Vishnu's doing it. Vishnu's doing it this time.
Okay.
I'll do it.
Vishnu,
I'm handing it over to Vishnu, I think.
Okay. So we played Wolves 2 days ago, and
Bruno's
Why
haven't we said anything about Bruno yet? Fucking hell. Like, I'm just
Yeah, Bruno, so that's a huge thing. United brought in Bruno Fernandes for 46 million with add-ons to about like 10 to 15 million, and some of those add-ons are complete bullshit. So we're looking like at a 55 million, pound deal for Bruno Fernandes. But let's start off there. Let me just recap the game real quick. 60% plus possession for United in both halves. We dominated the game. Not too many amazing shots in terms of percentages. We had some go wide. Bruno had some shots. But Wolves also had just as many shots as us, or just a little bit less, and they were very effective on the counter, especially with Adama Traore and Raul Jimenez. But obviously, the big talking point from that game was Mr. Bruno Fernandes. Vishnu, what was that game? How was he?
Good, man. I'm just so relieved to see someone who's as creative and who's pulling up all the weight and holding the midfield down as much as I've seen as. To be fair, he looks like a lot more rhythm and a lot more energetic than half the United players. And this is his debut match.
Yeah.
And it's quite brilliant to see. Your stats boys got some nice little numbers to crunch up as well. So Bruno had 88 passes yesterday. That's the most on the pitch. He's had 44 in the final third passes. Again, most on the pitch. He had 5 shots, most on the pitch. 5 tackles. That is third, like from the midfield, and 3 shots on target. Again, most on the pitch. So it's really, really nice to see that. Like we have the likes of Fred has been doing really well in terms of holding it down in passage of play and stuff like that. But it's nice to see Bruno coming in, challenging the defenders and taking shots outside the box, putting like a little bit of fear, saying that, I don't have to always run it by Martial. I don't have to run it by the flanks. I don't have to like cut across. I'm just going to take a shot and see what happens.
Yeah.
So that's quite nice to see. I think since Pogba, we've been missing that a lot. We don't have unfortunately, by the injuries of McTominay as well, who takes good shots like these and scores some screamers. It's nice to see Bruno Fernandes in the pitch doing all this for United. I think he's going to make a massive difference with the time to come. He's had maybe 3 days to adjust. So,
it's too little.
Yeah, definitely. Like 1 or 2 training sessions with the boys is not enough yet. So we'll see. I think it's very exciting to see someone like this in our squad. I'm just so happy, guys. Like we finally managed to pull someone in to our midfield we desperately need. And let's see. I'm looking forward to seeing him also play with Pogba and McTominay. Find like these great midfield combinations. Even like Matic returning would be quite good for him. Because Matic can lay back a little bit and Bruno can explore a little bit more, ghost about in the attacking third. Kind of where the idea is to like totally negate Jesse Lingard out of the team.
Yep. Let him just Sorry.
But I just want to add a point to what you said. He's been in England for 48 hours. At the end of that game, it had been 48 hours since he'd been in England. That's fucking insane.
I mean, that's the thing, man. If we were in any other type of situation, I don't feel like if we had Pogba and McTominay and Matic, all of them in the squad right now, he could have come on like in the second half, slowly, like, just gotten into the game. But like, I think there was a lot of expectation on his shoulder. I mean, he's probably the last player. I mean, the last two players to come from Portugal to England were like, they were a big, one of them being Ronaldo, obviously. So just imagine the amount of expectations on his shoulder, man. I think he still showed that he could still be like a leader in midfield. But it was also evident that the players weren't really on his wavelength just as yet. And you can't really blame the others too for it. I just think it's going to take a lot more time. And I think Bruno was just trying to figure his way out, figure the team out yesterday. And I think, so I'm not too surprised by the outcome of that match. I don't think either team deserved the score either. It was very like, there were no complete chances. Nothing was, really happening. But I think I'm okay with getting a point out of that game. It would have been nice if he got 3 points, but considering Chelsea and Leicester drew. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a good game for Bruno to start. And I think he showed why he can be, one of the, our central midfield players, I think it's going to be.
Dude, he looked so confident. He was telling fuckers what to do. He was like, Pereira, go there, do this. And he's like playing not even in his natural position. He was all over the field. He was running back, making fucking dirty challenges, which I loved. On the break, I forgot who was, I think it was Podol or whatever that guy's name was, pulls him back, stops a clear opportunity. Wolves are super intense on the break. Amazing. His shooting technique is ridiculous.
Yes. Yeah.
Dude,
his outside foot shots are ridiculous.
So confident, great passes. Yeah, he made some astray passes just because he's on different wavelengths, like you were saying. But I think clearly now we have a decent enough midfield with Pogba, at least hoping he comes back and plays well till the end of the season, with McTominay, with Matic, with Bruno, and Fred. I don't want to forget Fred. Fred's been amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Some depth. We haven't had that. That is some depth. And I think we're going to have a good end to the season. But now let's, move on. We all agree Bruno is going to be fucking amazing for us. Let's move on to some of the other big talking points from the game. And what I want to mention is right off the bat, and we all said this on chat, this is my number one thing. And I've said this for a while now. Dan James shouldn't even be in the fucking squad, not even the arena as a fucking fan, dude. He's fast, But he looks like
that's all he has.
He doesn't even move his arms, dude. He's fast, but he's so awkward on the ball. He's not good enough, dude. He's the lowest dribble completion in the league. Kartik, go ahead.
Yeah, dude. I guess the way the season started off, like everyone was just mind blown by the amount of pace he has. I'm sure he has that pace, but it's completely useless when you really can't dribble past a defender. Because all he does is depend on his pace, and you see defenders easily reading him. It is way too easy to read him, dude. And it's clear, maybe he's kind of maybe you saying that he's not even fan material is a little too much. But I feel like he could be like, could come on for the last 5 minutes or something just for some, just to have some pace down the wings or something for, I think that's a good position for him, but he definitely shouldn't be starting our games anymore. And I don't understand why the fuck Greenwood doesn't start. And Pereira, another person I was so frustrated with yesterday was fucking Pereira, dude. Like, what the fuck? Like, it just felt like he didn't even want to play for us. And also, he might have been a little out of position. But I think the pressure is also starting to show that he might lose his spot in the team as well, now that Bruno is also in, because he plays in a very similar position to Bruno as well. I think that's where he plays best. But so I think all that is kind of like, but yeah, that's the thing, it's good to have some competition within the team. So hopefully like Pereira either picks up his game, or I think the kid has quality, but he's been extremely inconsistent. So this is probably a time where he could probably either show his game, what he's really capable of, or probably just move on to probably a smaller club.
Right.
Yeah. I just want to add a little bit as well. Like, I think that the entrance of Bruno is gonna help a lot in the midfield in terms of the learning aspect of things as well.
Yeah.
Because he's been really good for Sporting consistently. He's been their captain. So there's a lot of leadership roles. Like you mentioned, Arman, he was telling fuckers to like move, pair up to each other, and it's his first game. It's just like he's just 48 hours into English football, and he's already like starting to do these things. It'll be nice for the likes of Pereira and say like God forbid even Matic to kind of step it up a notch and fight for their position in the team, because like if that spot is already filled and Fred is playing the way he is, it's going to be very hard for anyone else to come into that midfield. So it'll be a good opportunity for these guys to just be like, you know what, like I am not guaranteed an like a number 11 like spot in the team anymore. So I'm gonna have to work harder. I'm gonna have to stop fucking around doing the stupid silly passes like Pereira does. Take these ridiculously outside like ambitious shots outside the box, which has nowhere close to like reaching its mark. And yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good for them to like kind of show their composure, show their like domination, say that look, I deserve a spot on the team.
Yeah, exactly. And I think even Pogba doesn't have an automatic slot on the team now. Bruno can obviously Pogba is the best player on our team. Like, there's no denying that he has the best talent, but he also dilly-dallies on the ball like Pereira a little bit. So I think, it's good to have him be a little bit disciplined as well. And it's amazing to see that we finally have depth and everybody's coming together. So the second point I wanted to bring up from this game, and I think it's a very, very key talking point, Ollie even brought it up in his post-match press conference. Martial was isolated. He didn't perform well. And, I don't really buy the isolated part because the ball was in their half of the field the entire time. Every time he got the ball, he could not hold it up. He was pushed off, and he spent half the game on the ground.
Yeah,
like he's not strong. I think he's not a center forward. I honestly think he's not a center forward. Kartik, expand on that.
Yeah, I think he's definitely not a center forward, dude. I think Greenwood has better hold up play than he does. I mean, personally, like I've seen Greenwood like hold the ball way better up the in the attacking third more than Martial for sure. And I just feel like Martial. I mean, I completely agree with your point that it was just he was on the floor every 5 minutes, dude. It was too easy to get him off the ball, and it was so evident that Bruno was trying to just waiting for him to make those runs in behind the defender, and he just didn't have that instinct. Like, even Bruno has more of an attacking instinct than he does. Because you see when, at least I think in the first 20, 30 minutes of the game, you could see like Bruno play those passes and make the run in behind. But obviously no one could find him because, again, that's the whole situation with the players need to be on the same wavelength. They probably need to play together more to like understand each other. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing, dude. That's the only regret I have from this transfer window is that we did not get a center forward of some sort, like a natural striker.
We did.
We did,
but a pretty shit one.
But exactly. I mean, we could have, I don't know, man. I mean, I know the January transfer window is hard, and this goes back to fucking. Yeah, Martial was definitely.
I've kind of lost my patience on Martial. I feel like he's not really presenting himself as a key Man United player anymore because after Rashford, he is our main goal scorer. And when he is playing with Rashford, he does have these like great moments of pure Anthony Martial, like the ones where we saw in his debut and stuff, where he cuts across, where he does all these like amazing passes and takes proper shots. I feel like he's lacking a lot of confidence, and I have no reason to believe why, because he is in the center of it now. He is starting every game now, and he's our like threat, and he's holding up everything together. It's just his finishes. I know that he hasn't got the greatest support from the midfielders as well, so I'm hoping that Bruno coming in is going to change this too. But I still feel like he's not himself. Like, I feel like he doesn't even want to play at the moment. It reminds me of like how like kind of what Pogba is, because they have this kind of ego saying, "Yo, nothing's happening." It's like kind of like a spoiled child, you're like nothing's happening to me, and like I want it to happen, but like just whine about it instead of actually putting up a decent display in front of goal. And I'm starting to lose it a lot more. I really kind of want Greenwood to start more games now, and kind of push Martial back to more of a supporting role than anything else, like he was to Rashford. And then maybe he'll get a goal or two, because since Rashford's gone, Martial scored one goal, and that was against Tranmere, and that was off a deflection. And like we played three. We haven't won our last three Premier League games, and our main striker, who is a supposed CF at the moment, is completely misfiring. And yeah, I honestly don't know what else to do now. And until I'd just bench him and then bring him on as a second half sub with like James, because so that I think it'll be great for like a little burst of energy towards the end of the game, fresh legs, and show a bit more threat and start Greenwood. Arsenal's kind of gone this way as well because they've dropped Lacazette and brought in Martinelli. Like they both are playing like hand to hand, but Martinelli is starting a lot more games than Lacazette is, and he's being the second to Aubameyang. That's how I feel like Greenwood should be doing as well.
No, I think so too, and I think Martial, like if you go back in his career, he had the coach at Monaco used to say he had so many mental like issues. He used to lack confidence, and he was such a confidence player. One thing that went wrong would screw him over. And then, when he came to United, Van Gaal said a similar thing. Jose wanted to sell him, like desperately wanted to sell him. Yeah. And now, like you're seeing this, he's so supremely talented, but he keeps doing the same thing. If he's on the left, he dribbles, and tries to cut in on his right. It's so obvious, but he's so talented to not be able to do that. And I think the huge difference between him and Rashford is when Martial was out, Rashford struggled, but at least Rashford was pushing the pace and always penetrated and tried. Martial just looks like, nah, there's nothing going on. I can't solve it. Like Rashford tries to be the savior. Martial just says, like, fuck it. So I think the fact that Erling Haaland has scored 8 goals in 136 minutes for Borussia Dortmund, and they bought him for 20 million. We should have paid 50 and brought him in. Yes, he wouldn't perform this well in the Premier League as he is in Germany. But are you kidding me, dude? Like, we could have paid 40 and completely outbid them and got him in, paid him like way better wages than he is there. And Martial, I agree with you, Vishnu. Martial should be on the bench.
Yeah. I mean,
go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't know. So I want to ask you guys something. So I was watching Ole's post-match yesterday, and he also said that it's also a factor about energy. So like the fact that we played so many games back to back with the lack of players. I mean, I think that was one of the reasons for how yesterday's game turned out as well, because I just felt like everyone looked a little too tired. I mean, Bruno definitely had the energy. Agreed, but also it was his first game, and so I don't know, man. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that energy is a factor?
Yeah, because it definitely is, but you can see like teams like Liverpool who are playing a lot more than United is, and they're getting their results based. Let's throw like Liverpool out of the equation. I'm okay with the fact that you are tired, maybe there's like a fatigue, but I'm not okay with lack of intent. Like when your players are like still huffing, like you see Fred, he's becoming a sort of a Park Ji-sung in a way, like a proper horse, running everywhere, doing these crazy tackles, coming back and having defense. But like the least you can do is at least be as attentive in forward. If you lose the ball, go retrieve it, or at least try and retrieve it. Show that you're interested instead of just holding back, flailing your arms, and then saying, you know what, like I didn't get that. That was on me. But yeah, I feel like he's just not showing intent, and I'm not okay with that. Like
that's
Greenwood's sitting on the bench, like he's raring to go. He's also taking shots. Like I think he had more shots than Martial yesterday, to be honest.
Yeah.
Since he came on, so like
he had a
did
deflected
Martial
one
even
that
have
nearly
a
went
shot? Did Martial even have a shot yesterday?
I don't know.
Yeah,
not that I can remember.
Yeah. So
I think like you're saying, I think energy was a factor, dude. Like you're saying, when you compare to Liverpool, Man City, who had similar amount of games than us, but I think we may have even had more because we're in the Carabao Cup and we had a rematch in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
So we were stretched thin on a very already thin squad. So Fred was playing every minute. Maguire was playing every minute. Lindelof, all these guys, every single minute they're playing. So, that has to, when I play 90 minutes, obviously, but like, I'm not compared to a football player, but like, you have to put yourself in their shoes. When you play with your homies, you're done for a few days. Like it's so physically taxing.
Yeah, of
So
course.
I think it's good that we have these 2 weeks. Before the podcast, we were saying Vishnu check. McTominay will hopefully be back on the 17th. Pogba will hopefully be back on the 17th for our game against Chelsea. So we have options. Everybody's going to be rested, and hopefully we're back. But moving on to the next point, I think I really wanted to highlight again that Ollie is moving us forward, and I think everything that we said is justified. A lot of people are hating, media is hating again on Ollie. What the hell? He should have finished them off. Pep Guardiola once said in an interview when he was with Barcelona, I can only get the players up 60% of the pitch. They have to do the rest.
Yeah.
Ollie has got them to that point, but we don't have anyone that is penetrating and causing any real scare. So we get there and then we just pass side to side, side to side, side to side. So he can't go out there and be like, dude, no, you make this run. You can't. The players have to get out there and do that themselves. So I think, there's positivity there. Yes, we've lost 2 games before this and in the Premier League, and we've drawn 1 now. So our record isn't looking great. But I think you can't look at that stuff this season. We have to just look on progress on the field. Vishnu, what do you think about that?
Yeah. First of all, let me just say that his real little outburst to Lingard made my
Yes,
dude, it was the best thing
I've ever seen.
the entire week.
I'm more like we can make jokes and have a little laugh about this, but on a serious note as well, like I feel like Ole has always expressed himself as like a happy-go-lucky manager, and I feel like this little outburst has just slipped out of like what he usually says in the dressing room. So it's nice to see someone who is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and still yelling at players like Jesse Lingard to go fuck right off and try and get shit together. But then also I feel like back in the halftime breaks or whenever we have breaks, I feel like he really has a go at his players. But he will defend them to the core. Like when they in press conferences, in everything, giving them all the confidence they need inside the let's say we're playing 3 games in 9 days and stuff like that. He knows how to rotate his players well. It's good to see a manager who actually cares so much. And I was slightly hesitant last time when we had this discussion, but I'm all in now. Ollie's at the wheel.
Yeah. Finally.
We have to do this. But it's good to see.
Yeah.
He is still struggling a bit because like yesterday we did notice that we had 3 subs we could have used early on. We could have brought in a little bit more pace. We could have removed Daniel James, could have removed the slackers a little bit. But we did only a double change in the 86th minute, which I don't completely understand. I don't know what was going on. And he moved Bruno Fernandes to CDM, our best player. He's pulled him back when we needed a goal from someone, a playmaker. So it's a bit strange here and there. Like he does make these calls on and off, which I'm not completely like satisfied. I'm like, what the fuck was that about? But in a general note, he is, taking us towards the right direction.
I think I understand that though. Bruno's sort of like playing a little behind and pulling him back towards the end of the game, because I guess Ollie just read into the game knowing that this game doesn't seem like anyone is about to score, and the last thing they wanted was Wolves to end up getting a point.
But we can't have that kind of mentality, right? Like,
we can't, which is true. But like I guess this factors in the whole thing about the fatigue and all of that. And what I was really impressed by though is how Bruno even held it even in a CDM position where he was still completely reliable. He was completely controlling that midfield along with Fred too, who was fantastic. Another couple of players, I feel like Harry Maguire, fucking slabhead has actually been, he's showing what he's actually capable of. He was a fucking wall yesterday, dude. He was phenomenal. Even I guess in the City game too, he was really good. Luke Shaw, he played really well yesterday. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I think he put in a really good game as well. So, that goes back to your thing about progress. I think that's definitely showing in a lot of players. They want to play harder despite, all the criticism, whatever we're going through right now. So there are good signs. It's not all bad. So,
Yeah, the media makes it out to seem like, he's the shittiest manager ever. I think, Lampard's having a tougher time of it again, to bring him up. But again, we digress. I just want to do one last point before we end. Before the transfer window, we also brought in Ighalo from
Yeah.
China. I forgot which team in China.
Shanghai.
4 or 5. Oh, it was from Shanghai. So from Shanghai Shenhua. He scored 2 goals or 3 goals, and 2 of which were penalties in China. So he's not exactly tearing it up there. 4 years ago or 5 years ago, Louis van Gaal wanted to bring in Ighalo as one of his major signings in January. The club said, no, he's not good enough, blah, blah, blah. He went up to China. And then we fucking go from, we're going to bring in Haaland. Okay, rejected. Then we go to Edison Cavani. Oh, okay, rejected. Then fucking, who's that Bournemouth dude? Holy shit, how am I blanking on him? Sorry?
Joshua King.
Josh King, right?
Yeah, Josh King, who was a Man United Academy graduate as well. I would have been happy with that. And then we fucking go to China, dude. What? I don't know. I think it's good to have a body, but I'm not exactly happy with this 6-month loan. Karthik, what's your thought?
Dude, I think I had a conversation with you guys too. I'm like, I couldn't even place who this player was when we made when the news came in. I thought he was like, initially I thought, okay, this must be some like, okay, he's coming for like the reserve teams or something. You know, I didn't even think of him as a part of the first team squad. So I'm surprised by this because this is so not a United buy. It just seems so out of place for me. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
This definitely seems like okay, this was a desperate move. We definitely need someone, and I see why we went for this. But again, dude, this goes back to fucking, what you just said about Haaland, about players who we could have got who are willing to leave in the January transfer window, who was willing to join a bigger club, and we just passed on that, dude. And I think it's fucking. I mean, who else can you blame other than Woodward for this, man? I don't know. Like, I know now Bruno happened, but after I don't know how long, the kind of shit he put the entire fans through, the team through, like, I mean, bro, Woodward needs to get the fuck out, man. And it's high time. We need a proper director on board. This is bullshit.
Vishnu, go
I
ahead.
feel like he's just kind of. I think he's just been like, yo, you know what? I've got Bruno for you sorted, so I'm just gonna just save my own ass and get in a striker because you guys need one without any sort of indication of like the level of quality that we need up front because we're missing Rashford. I think it's entirely Ed Woodward's fault that we are lacking a proper striker at the moment. We have. I don't know, man. I feel like fuck it. Let's just see what this big Nigerian can do. Let's just see, like maybe he can like surprise us. Just like stick him.
Maybe he might. Yeah.
Yeah, you just challenge. Like he is a strong lad. He scored a lot of goals for the AFCON. Do you know the little stat that he has more like goals in the AFCON than Mane, than Salah, than like the likes of I can't even like think of the top of my head.
Riyad Mahrez.
Yeah, Mahrez.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think that all right, okay, this can be like any normal stat because they don't play a lot of international football as well. But
how old is the guy?
30.
I'm not sure. He's pretty old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it then. It's just okay. Yeah.
But like we have what's the kid's name? Ramazani on our under 23. And he I think started like a game for United when we exhausted all our players. I'm not sure against who. I'm not sure in what league as well. But we did start Ramazani once. Chong is always an option as well. So why not explore these options a little bit more? I know they're not.
I don't know.
As soon as you made that face, I realized that. Okay, you know what?
Dude, it's just unacceptable because we could, it would be, he wouldn't be happy, but we could have Romelu Lukaku on the bench. I agree that it was the best thing to move Lukaku on because we wanted to have this new philosophy. So in that time, I was like, okay, I'm willing to sacrifice. But we've known since March that Lukaku wanted to leave the club. There should have been a contingency plan made then and there. Okay, when Lukaku's leaving, it's good for both of us because he doesn't fit our new system and he's going to go to a new team and he's a good player. But if we're not going to bring anybody to at least replace him and we're going to bring in an Ighalo who's a much, 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 much worse Romelu Lukaku, then it's like that is the ultimate definition of poor planning. Like we should have brought in somebody else. We could have got a Cavani. We could have maybe he rejected England. Those are the reports. But still, like there has to be some better option even in the summer than what we just did. But again, you're right, Vishnu. Like let's give him a chance. Like there's no point in like being negative in him. We got to give him a chance. Yeah. If he doesn't do well, then we'll fuck him up on this podcast.
Yeah.
He stopped a lot of games though. Like I don't think he'll play much, honestly. I think he's just a injury cover at most.
I think right now he might. Right now, considering the situation, but yeah, I mean, I see him on the bench once we come back, I guess, and I guess we could see if he's still. I mean, he's 30. I mean, 30 is also. There's still players playing well at 30, so it's not impossible.
No, I know that. I've seen I did a little bit of research, but I saw a couple of YouTube videos of the skills and stuff.
Yeah,
he's not too bad. He seems all right. He seems like a confident bloke who can actually get scoring. But he's also played for Watford before, so he knows what the Premier League is like. So I don't know. Like I think he would be all right, but I just don't know. Maybe he'll just bring a fresh retrospect into things because Martial's misfiring right now. Maybe just like Martial plays the first 65, 70 minutes. He doesn't get anything done. Yeah. We get in Ighalo and then see what he does with the ball. Maybe one strike is all that needs, He wins the game for United on his debut or something. And then that's where the confidence, rises. Yeah. And then maybe it'll present itself like a nice another option,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're playing some good ball. Yeah. Yeah, and we're also playing some good balls into the box. So I feel like as long as we have someone to just get on the end of that,
correct.
That'll be more than enough. Like we saw Bissaka playing some really good balls in yesterday as well. And now Bruno's in there too. So just for someone to penetrate the back four, just to be at the right spot at the right time is exactly what we need right now. So it's not that much. If he does have a striker instinct, then maybe that might just pay off. You never know. So
I agree. But everything we're saying is it's not Man United, dude. That's maybe that's 8th, 9th, 10th place. Again, I hope he does really well. And I'm just looking up his stats. At Watford, he scored 33 goals in 82 games. In China, I don't really count those stats, but his goal return is not awful. So I think, hopefully it's just a 6-month loan. Hopefully if he scores 5 goals, I'm more than happy. But still, I just, you should expect higher from Man United.
Yeah, this definitely just seems like a desperate snatch. Let's just take it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
We've got some tough games ahead. We're playing Chelsea next. We're playing Club Brugge in Europa, the first round of 32 game away, and then we're playing again the fixture. And then comes the shit show where we play Everton, the winner of the fifth FA Cup round, and then we play City, Tottenham, Sheffield. That's it, right? And
so that's gonna decide it, bro. That's gonna be the decider to see where we stand.
And also our final game is against Leicester, so I'm hoping that it doesn't come to a last game thing where it's a must-win game to grab the number 4 spot and. Maybe even a win for Leicester would guarantee the number 2 spot. So number 2.
It's looking like that though right now. It's looking extremely close to that scenario where we'll have to play till the very end. Too. Yeah.
We've dropped points as well, so we're not 5th anymore, which is sad to see. So Sheffield's just gone.
I know. Sheffield. Yeah. Number 6.
Yeah. All right, boys. But I think that's a good place to end. I think we pretty much covered everything. I want to say thank you to everybody for listening. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. Vishnu is going to make sure this is up in 2 days. And if it's not, everybody in the comments, just, write a bunch of hate mail. Be like, Vishnu, you're a piece of shit. And then also do that for Karthik on the last video. And just leave me alone. Let me be. Just please don't say anything mean to me. But we haven't even got a comment yet, so hopefully just get involved. Your comments are very important, or else it's a conversation that we'd be having anyway. So please get involved. We'd love to see your, what you think. If you completely disagree with us, that'd be awesome to see in the comments. You guys want to give any last points before we close?
Yeah, so I'm gonna just like finish it up for you, Arman. Like, yeah, we're just gonna show you all our like technical difficulties that we face on a daily basis with Karthik's shit internet and using his hotspot and whatsoever.
Clearly,
Show our daily
this
struggles.
is gonna keep happening, guys. We're still pretty poor, so yeah, it's gonna keep happening. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So yeah, just like tune in whenever you can. We are on Spotify. We are on Instagram. Try and get involved in Twitter as well. I'll create a profile. We'll get the discussion going, and let's start a community, guys. Let's talk stuff.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a Man United supporter. You don't have to agree with us on anything, but go for it. Like, rip us a new asshole. Let's go, because like I'd love to talk about my points online and start a proper like forum for all these discussions. Anything to add?
Yeah, guys, it's a free world. Let's do this.
Hell yes. Let's end there.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. See you guys next time.